What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Now, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review for Begotten. Written and directed by Elias Mertage. Montag? Begotten stars all of these lot. Presented in a surreal, gory, and entirely visual manner, Begotten tells of the death of religion, the abuse of nature by man, and a nihilistic outlook on what life ultimately is. Begotten is a pretty important film for me, as it was the first one that I covered in this new journey into extreme horror. And if you're wondering why you can't find that video right now, it's because it was dog shit. I was a wee nipper. It was only, what, a year and a half ago? Life has certainly changed since then. I mean, I look like this. Ah, bless him. What a When I started on this journey, Begotten seemed like the perfect film to start with. Much like the last movie I reviewed, American Guinea Pig 2 Bloodshot, which you should check out because, well, someone should. It's black and white with no dialogue or much of a score. On face value makes zero f***ing sense, and with the picture so distorted, even if you know what's going on, it's still hard to follow. Sound good? Yeah? So yeah, basically I wanted to cover it again, going over the film once more, just to see if after a year and a half of watching these awful, awful films, maybe I'll get something new out of it. I remember this film made me feel genuinely f***ed up for the rest of the day last time, so let's see if it has the same effect now. Prepare to enter the miserable cycle of life, death, rebirth, death again, then flowers, and cum. Lots of cum. This is Begotten. The movie begins with a quote that reads, cut to this shot, which looks like a human shadow that then morphs into a swan. They're the real horror. Those things will break your f***ing arm. Cut to this house, and then inside where we meet God. And look at the f***ing state of this c***. Good lord. God rocks about, vomiting up blood, and then we get close to his eye. Cut to outside the house as we watch God through the window, and then back in as he starts disemboweling himself with a straight razor. Lovely. And to make matters worse, he's cutting his guts up, dropping them on the floor and shaking uncontrollably. It's one of the most disturbing images I've ever seen in any of these films. There's something about the movements, let alone the injuries being caused, that just makes this so hard to watch. He opens his shirt and starts cutting, pulling his guts out and stabbing away. And we watch for ages. He rips off a nice chunky bit and then slops it on the floor and continues cutting. We get more close-ups and watch as he smears blood on the wall. I have never seen an image that more perfectly encapsulates my outlook on life than this one. If you ever look at me and you wonder, what is he thinking? What is he feeling? It's this. It's always this. We watch blood and soil running down his leg until the foot is almost completely covered. We take a few more looks at God until a figure emerges from beneath him. This is Mother Earth. According to Wikipedia, how you're supposed to know any of this information without Wikipedia is beyond me. She stands, grabs at her boobs and goes for a walk, staring up at the sky as she does. Possibly in relation to her connection with God, never taking her eye off of his kingdom. She spins round when we briefly cut to God's dead leg and then back to Mother Earth. She then leans down and starts whacking off his blood-covered until God spooges blood onto Mother Earth's stomach, which she rubs and then pops into her vagina, a vagine which has clearly copied my dad's haircut. Cut to God's coffin having a laugh in a field. Cut to a pregnant Mother Earth standing in front of the coffin as it disappears. Cut to the upside down reflection of Mother Earth and then to her topless as she rubs her belly. We then cut to Son of Earth having already been born. A man-sized, filthy and constantly shaking child. This movie's weird, man. Mother Earth abandons the child, walking off into the distance as Son of Earth shakes about on the ground. Cut to the sun setting and then to these guys walking up to the sun. On Wikipedia, they're called nomads, and I'm guessing they're just a representation of the human race, or at least an early form of them. Don't know why I did that. They surround the sun, looking down at him as he convulses on the ground. Cut to black and then to the sky, then to the nomads as they carry the sun through the wasteland and then sort of hang him up off this cliff by his umbilical cord. The sun then starts to spit up these blood sacs which the nomads happily accept. The nomads then lift the sun up off his feet and over the cliff. Cut to the sun or moon, it's really not clear, then more lifting as the sun disappears over the edge and the umbilical cord is thrown over with him. Cut to a fire and then to the nomads as they dance down the hill. They then carry him about for a bit. I say for a bit, but actually it's for long. Really long. Really slow and really, really long. Apparently they then throw him in a fire pit and burn him to death. We then see these people with a stretcher and then this figure who could be Mother Earth and then cut to the sun now alive and dressed. His mother wraps his umbilical cord around his neck and then leads him into the wasteland once more. Cut to this shot of the trees and then to the nomads having a wonder, then to the mother and son. We then see the nomads arrive at some big pipes as mother and son walk across them. The nomads watch for ages until one of them strikes the son in the head. All the while, mother continues to stare up at the sky as she has done the whole time. The only time that she hasn't done that is when she was whacking off dead God. I guess you got to keep your eye on the prize. The dead God that you're whacking off. That prize. The nomads then attack the son, punching him in the dick over and over before turning their attention to the mother, knocking her to the ground and assaulting her. They stand there hitting her in the vagina over and over and it looks like they rip her guts out maybe. We see a hand digging around her body and then a flash of two other bodies, I think. We see guts and sky and the nomads doing more violence. We then see this liquid hit the mother, though I'm not quite sure what it is. We see more angles of the dead mother, the nomads, the sky, the cum. It's all just a little bit boring at this point, I gotta say. Cut to a caterpillar and then to the sun as he sits next to the dead body of his mother. He's joined by these people, referred to as the robed figures on Wikipedia, who cover the mother with a sheet and carry her away as the sun watches. They then drag her body down to wherever this is, and I have no idea what is going on here. It looks like they're mining for something or just trying to dig for something. There's water or more likely cum. They're definitely collecting something and adding it to the mother's body, I think. And as you can expect, this goes on for ages. The robed figures now have everything they need and carry the mother bucket off once again. Cut to the sun setting and then to various shots of the desolate wasteland and the sun dragging himself through it. Morning comes and the son of Earth continues on his way until he's once again joined by the robed people. They grab him, stick him in a bag and then sledgehammer him to death. They then carry him off and we get a bit more wet bucket action and then more harvesting. Cut to the dead body of the sun, I think. We hear flies, so I'm guessing what that is. Cut to the sky and then to the wasteland as it rains. We see running water. Not and then to the robed people as they carry in the bucket while others mash this stuff into the ground. They bury all parts of Mother and Son of Earth, mashing them down into the ground with a stick. They stuff in the guts and flesh or possibly fabric or whatever this material is that they were harvesting. Cut to flowers dying, this landscape and then flowers growing back. Cut to Mother and Son walking once more and then to what looks like the dead son. We have a good look at him and then cut to the woods now lush with plant life and the film cuts to black. The end! I think. No. It's definitely the end. Or at least that was going to be the end until I found myself a copy of Den of Celestial Birds. It's a short film made by the same director and part of a unfinished trilogy, according to Wikipedia. Let's take a quick look. The film begins with a greeting that reads, "Hello and welcome. Do not be afraid. Be comforted. Remember our origin." Cut to nothing and then to everything as we witness the Big Bang. Everything then gets sucked back in and we dissolve to this spinning shell looking universe as everything calms down for a bit. It all then picks back up again before we cut to what looks like the universe forming. Cut to the surface of the earth forming, then on a roller coaster through the clouds, then to the sun and eventually this, which I'm going to assume is plants being born. Cut to the sun and earth and then to another shot of plant life growing upon its surface. We then see multiple flashes of light as these tendrils reach around, leading to this explosion of cells as life is born. Cut to more cells, then to this liquid, then to the sky, then to this landscape as fog washes across it, and then the sun rising as it blinds us. Cut to whatever this is, then to the brain, then to more cells as this new life form is created. Suddenly light flashes until this evolution is finally revealed, looking very similar to the son of Earth. He reaches up as we cut to a wide shot of Earth and the film ends. The end! Wow. I like that one way better. Begotten 1 year later is not as good as I remember, but I think that's because I'm so f***ing damaged by everything I've seen in the last year and a half. When I first sat down to watch, I was eager to put my new, more seasoned eye for the cinematic grotesque to the test. To utilise all I've learned over the past year and a half and hopefully come out of this experience with a little bit more than, oh, you know, that was horrid, wasn't it? At the end of my first viewing, I found myself shaken by every element the film presents. The imagery, or lack thereof, the score, or lack thereof. Begotten was to that fat-faced ginger prick truly frightening. This time, I just thought it was boring, honestly. Boring and just a little bit silly. Shots providing limited to no auditory or visual information that last for minutes at a time were once incredibly effective in that they kept me on the edge of my seat, not only terrified of what might happen next, but what might be happening right now. What is that black blotch over there? Is it an organ or a face? Closer and closer you lean into the film, desperate to learn its secrets. Like someone attempting to tell you something of extreme importance only for the words coming out of their mouth to have no sound. You lean in, squinting your eyes, turning up the volume, trying to make sense of it all, but even with the answers, unfortunately, the film is still just as locked off for the audience as it ever was. You know, I usually love movies of this nature, but even the films that give you absolutely nothing usually have something for you on the second viewing. This one, unfortunately, did not. Yeah, sure, there are themes of religion, the absence of God, man's mistreatment of Earth, death and rebirth, with a happy ending of sorts, and the creation of nature on Earth as Mother Earth is absorbed by it. The cyclical nature of man's own awful behaviour, but really? Get fucked. What a load of All jokes aside, I can appreciate the aesthetic being a deliberate choice by the filmmaker to make something that visually looks like it was filmed at the beginning of time, but honestly, I think I'm just being nice here. The film isn't artistically rich enough for me to spend ages thinking about it, nor is it violent enough to really press those extreme horror buttons either. In the end, it's pretty disappointing. Dinner Celestial Birds, on the other hand, is a little bit more interesting. It's a weird as little short film which apparently tells the story of the creation of the human race, but from an evolutionary standpoint rather than a religious or theological one. It's short, to the point, and honestly, I much prefer it. Also, if that is Son of Earth at the end, that connects the two films, but unfortunately you miss out on Mother Earth whacking off dead God. So that was my review of Begotten and Den of Celestial Birds. What do you guys think? I definitely remember Begotten being a hell of a lot better. Not to say it's shit or whatever, but it's just not fun on the second viewing. Den of Celestial Birds was alright though. I reckon if you took out all the long shit in Begotten, it would be around the same length. I can safely say that I won't be going through those films again anytime soon. Or ever, probably. That being said, thank you all for watching, liking and subscribing. We're getting close to 10,000 subscribers. I'm really actually well excited about that. So thank you to everyone that's been checking it out, going to the Patreon, doing all that sort of stuff. I genuinely, really super appreciate it. And if you want to support the channel, please head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons, where for as little as $2 a month, you can see the uncut version of this review, plus all sorts of other fun things coming soon. But anyway, my name's Jonjo Lyons, and if it looks like cum, and it smells like cum, it's probably cum.